Tony! Fuck you, Tony! What's your name? Ezekiel! Fuck you, Ezekiel! Fuck you! Fuck you!
Whoa, had to switch up on the flow, gotta keep them on their toes. I move quick, I make the most, why they copy what I wrote. Follow everything I post, never trip about a clone, cause they know what's a sheep to a goat. Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise they ain't make it then. In their heads, living free, I ain't paying rent. Wake up in the AM, making G's like Mercedes-Benz. Whoa, hey, please don't take offense. It isn't you, I'm just not interested in making friends. My biggest fear is finding out that this came and went. So go ahead, but I'm staying in.
No, I'm in mid-train. Hold on, let me finish my point, you jerk.
You don't call your dad a jerk.
Well, you're being a jerk.
We just had one of our guests on, Jason Fry, talking about the Celtics are going to win their 19th championship. So what have you got to say about that?
Who this Jason Fry character is, you know, he was talking about doing hard shit. Well, his prediction is bullshit. Okay. All right.
I have a feel we're about to be joined by Sir George. He normally comes out of the black hole. Oh, there he is. Sir George. He is
it's
back.
You play football. What's up? You know,
Well, I just want to say,
Hey,
you
hey.
are.
Hey, Jerry. Hey, Jerry. I just saw Jerry joke. Hey, Jerry. You said, well, this ain't your number one. You're number one, Jerry. Number one.
Oh my God! Just we're moving on. We're moving on. We've killed the Cowboys. Matter of fact, get out. I'm tired of talking to you. Give me freaking JJ. Bring JJ on the show. Holy crap! Let's hear his opinion about this damn trade and why they made this decision. I think you're trying to cover your own ass right now and just not admit you were
ninth in the country.
I think you're just trying to cover your ass right now and don't.
You know what? I got a big ass, so
That's a lot of
take
cover.
a lot of cover. It take a blanket, damn it.
More like a drape.
Did you just pull a drape? Is that so I can open it up when I need to go? You know,
Hey, you're getting too deep into this.
Rivalries make sports great, but they
Yes.
got to be on the same level. And I'm sorry, Angel Reese ain't on the level of Caitlin Clark. Like, it's not Magic Bird.
If you don't want to commit to it, take your ass and be a PE all-star.
first off, you need to get your facts effing straight.
How do you like me now? How do you like me now? What? You're the coach. Shut up, dude. All you haters, shut the hell up. Just shut the hell up.
Whoa.
I won 5 Super Bowls, damn it. How dare you call the Cowboys a shit team? Watch the Cowboys. It'll be fun, they said. Bloody fucking hell, it was no fun.
It was like riding a train around one of the Kardashians' asses, and you just disappear into this abyss of ass. Somehow he talked about buttholes and made me hungry for a PBJ sandwich. It's 35-7, and it's only 7 because you just scored. Shut up.
Are you telling me coaches like Coach Popovich does plays in spaghetti noodles?
The thing about Coach Popovich is he actually liked to use popcorn with super glue.
Popcorn with super glue?
Yeah, he would put super glue little magnets on the bottom, and then he would arrange them on the board, and he would like color them different colors, and that would signify the opponents. And yeah,
Are those the players?
I don't want to give away any industry secrets on that particular thing, but yeah, I'm just gonna say you gotta. Yeah, I don't really know what I'm saying no more.
And they're playing with sticks, and they're playing with a little puck all the time.
Expert analysis right there. They play
The
with
puck.
sticks and pucks.
Trying to grow the game, man. Global game.
These people, they don't give a damn.
Oh, you didn't know? Your ass better call somebody!
guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. You better call somebody because we are back on the air. The self-proclaimed best in the podcast game. See what I did there? See what I did? That was pretty.
Oh, you're a poet. Yeah.
Well,
know it, I guess.
Hey, I'm going to give you credit. You know, we used to play the rhyming game on long road trips. So, but welcome
yes,
to
we did,
On-Time
and
Sports
I
Talk.
always won.
Yeah, you had 30 years on me. I was 10. Way to brag about that. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to On-Time Sports Talk. This is your go-to source. I'm just going to say it. Hottest takes and the deepest insights into whatever subject we deem worthy on our show. I am Casey, the Remix Schedule. The bald and the beautiful below me is Eddie, the original schedule. And he has, is that a stringy ball?
It's just it's one of those,
Yeah.
you know, when you piss me off, you don't see I'm below the screen doing this. Well, the son of a.
No, you just jump off the screen and piss me off. Anyways, good time.
Anyways,
all right. Well, let's get to the rundown, and then we'll get to the old man's absolutely horrible attempt at comedy. And so we got the Dallas Cowboys roster review. Were there any surprises to when they went down to 53? Is there a Micah update right now? We're going to answer that question. And some contracts around the league got taken care of. And then we're going to venture around the NFL in there and kind of figure out, hey, were there any surprising moves? Is there anyone on the market that the Cowboys could pick up to help this team? And then we're going to get into another segment. It's heavy on the Cowboys this first hour. Really good docu-series on Netflix called I think it's just called Cowboys, the Gambler and his football team. We're going to talk about the first 3 episodes. The old man lived it every single day. I was barely a hatchling at the start of this documentary in 1988. I was a whopping 2 years old. But I was conscious. I was a fan, and I was watching every Super Bowl in the early 90s. And I was very aware at the time, and it's kind of cool to relive those. So we're going to talk about the first 3 episodes. Then the old man wants to talk some WNBA. I'm here to shred whatever that is. And then we're going to get into an interesting topic that I would love for the folks out there to comment on is jersey retirements. We'll delve into that. We got Fleetwood and the PGA. We got the man, the myth, the legends making the most of your moment. And we got our whiskey of the week, a new whiskey of the week. One that hits home to those that wear the gold ring that one day, hopefully, I will be able to afford. So let's get into it with the joke of the day. Go ahead.
well, all right. It is another riddle for you. So, what do you call a person who has the keys to the bathroom? What do you call a person who has the keys to the bathroom?
I
No idea.
Nah, I don't know.
A can opener. Woo! Can open. Get it? Going to the can.
Yes, I got it. Yeah. Wow,
That was awesome.
that was horrible. And that's why we're not trying to make it in comedy, folks. We're trying to make it in sports. Hopefully, we can be a little bit better than that atrociousness. All right, let's kick things off with America's team. And yes, I don't give 2 craps who's out there, whether it's the Philly show, whether whoever it is still America's team. I don't really care what they say. But let's dive into this roster. Going through it, did you see any
surprise roster moves by the Cowboys? Did they let go of anyone that you were all like, oh, I was not expecting that? What roster questions should we start with the Dallas Cowboys?
I do not have any surprises, to be honest with you. I mean, nobody that they cut really stood out to me. I think Lyle Collins, everybody knew that was coming. I didn't think that's a big surprise. He hasn't been good for a while. And that's why he has a hard time staying on teams. So no surprises from the Cowboys. I mean, there wasn't anybody that was cut that just stands out to me. I think some of the other teams had some pretty
You ain't gonna be able to let
cuts.
you ain't gonna be able to let the Deuce loose. The Deuce is gone.
Well, he should have been gone last year.
Ow! I think he should have got a chance this year. I mean,
that was a nice thing that they did because that was their scouts boy, and he was able to do things at college, but he's just, God bless him. I'm same size. He's shorter than me, which is, you got to be short to be shorter than me.
That's a fact.
But it's just, and there are some guys who've been that height and even shorter that have been able to do things. I mean, Turpin's not very tall, but you got to produce, and the Deuce never got loose. And he couldn't avoid the big players like some of these other players who were his size. So I didn't think he should have been on the team last year. I'm sorry, Deuce, but you need to go play in the other league and maybe get a chance to do something.
What's the other league?
Is it the USFL now? What is it?
I think it's UFL, the United Football League.
Yeah, he needs to go play there. I think they could find a spot for him.
Yeah. Well, you had. I don't think there was any surprising cuts with the Cowboys. You mentioned the Lyle Collins. He was a late camp addition, so he has bounced around. Yeah, he's not what he was when he was originally with the Cowboys. I was surprised they didn't keep Will Grier, the third quarterback, just in the realm of Joe Milton has not sold me on him. And I know there's a lot of quarterback aficionados out there, but you weren't, once the Raiders traded for Pickett, there wasn't really a market out there for any backup quarterbacks. I think Cleveland actually signed Zappe again. So I thought they would have kept Will Grier. I thought he doesn't have the upside of Joe Milton, but I think he's more of a steady presence if he was the backup quarterback. You had Keemon Hall that could have made the team potentially, but things they did do, they went out and signed C.J. Goodwin, who, if you remember a few years ago, he was a star on special teams for the Cowboys. He'll be back with the team, and we'll see how they finalize their practice squad roster as well as the rest of the league there. But yeah, Deuce Vaughn gone. Jalen Brooks at the wide receiver, I was a little surprised at. I thought he had some moments in the preseason. I think he had a touchdown in that third preseason game. But I thought Jalen, I mean, he's not going to make or break your roster, but I think he has a little bit of talent. So I have a feeling he might find his way on another team's roster as well. So, yeah. Phil Maffa earned a spot on the team, which that did surprise me. James Houston is on the team. He showed some good flashes off the edge. And Zion Childress made the roster, which that one did surprise me. He hadn't impressed me too much. But yeah, So, and as we all know, these rosters are ever flowing, especially this time of the year. You might get
Well, it's like you talked about Greer. Greer's always going to be around if they need him. I mean, nobody's going to sign him. I think he's played a little bit in a couple other leagues too. So even though he's not on the roster, I think Greer will still be there. But I think Milton's got a lot of potential. I mean, I know you're not up on him, but from what I saw in training camp, and remember, he's coming to a new system, um, and he's having to learn. And I think being with Dak, I think Milton is a good backup right now and could possibly be a starter in the future because he has an arm. I mean, he has a really good arm and a body to get out there.
I mean, Trey Lance has an arm. Like, I mean, we had this discussion. I'm
never proved that he could handle the stress of being a quarterback.
I don't think Joe Milton's ever going to get the opportunity either. So, I mean, the only way it gets it is if Dak goes down. And I think if Dak goes down, the Cowboys are going to be heavily calling teams to try to make a trade for a quarterback. Because you go into games with Joe Milton as your guy. If Dak gets injured, you might as well plan for the next high draft pick. So, couple notables around the league. Valdez-Scantling cut from the Seahawks. I was surprised at that. And a former top 10 pick in the first round, Isaiah Simmons, the speedy linebacker, used to be at the Cardinals, got cut from Green Bay. So that was interesting. And not too many other ones that really stood out. Those were kind of ones for me.
DeVito for the Giants has already been claimed by the Patriots off waivers. So
the New York legend?
Huh?
The New York legend was cut?
Yeah. Yeah.
Tommy DeVito.
But I'm wondering where Hilton from the Dolphins might end up. I do not think he is a bad corner. I don't think he's obviously not a shutdown corner, but we'll have to see where he ends up.
Yeah, and did you notice Michael Gallup could not make the roster in Washington? He got cut from Washington as well. Hunter Renfro, the Panthers got cut. Former Pro Bowler, wide receiver. Surprised he's not been able to return to form after he went through some colitis last year. And the big old Dan Skipper kid from the Lions, who tallest guy in the league, 6'10", gets cut. And then the largest, fattest player in the league gets cut. That did not surprise me. That his name is Desmond Watson of the Buccaneers. He was 449 pounds. Couldn't cut weight.
That's big. That's big. That's
he was cut in. And probably the most notable name, though, that people will know just in the general public is one of Deion's kids got cut. Wasn't Shador, but Shiloh Sanders got cut from the Buccaneers as well.
Well, he had a little incident with a tight end from Buffalo and got ejected.
It's also
because
not that good.
He thought he was playing the slapping game, smacked him upside the head. So, of course, everybody came out, oh, it's because it's Sanders' kid. Well, no, it's because he lost control and he's not that good. You know, how about Cleveland with their quarterback situation? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's what I expected. I mean, Joe Flacco's going to be the starter.
Shador Sanders didn't really impress. You know, we talked about it last week. You know, you made the point of everyone was going crazy because of he had a good showing in preseason. He's going against twos. Well, he comes out and he's going against twos and threes and fours and fives on the preseason game number 3, and he gets washed.
I think he was 3 for 14 yards.
Yeah, he took like 5 or 6 sacks, and people want to say, "Oh, you didn't put him in there for the last drive." Well, he didn't earn it. I commented on, I think it was Sean Salisbury's post on X, but y'all can go check our tape. And if you remember this, I said this on the show before the draft. I did not see him as a top 3 round pick. I saw him as a 5 to 7 rounder, which is exactly where he went. He never really impressed me in the draft process or his time at Colorado. I think he was 12 and 13 or 13 and 12 at Colorado. Couldn't even win the Big 12 out there. You know, he has a little bit of accuracy that translates, but he's not overly athletic. He's not overly fast. His arm talent isn't that super great. I was never impressed. So their quarterback situation is exactly how I thought it was going to turn out. I figured they would trade Kenny Pickett just because he didn't fit in the room and he wasn't better than Joe Flacco. And Dylan Gabriel played solidly in the preseason enough to earn the backup role, and they have more draft capital invested in Dylan Gabriel. So it makes sense that he would be higher on the depth chart when Shador Sanders didn't just absolutely outplay the guy. So ultimately, that's how it ended up. And, you know, I think they just signed Zappy to be their 4th quarterback. I think he'll end up being on the practice squad. You know, he was a starter for a little bit in New England, kind of been a journeyman guy, has a little bit of athleticism for one of those small schools, but he's a career backup guy. So that's of no consequence. He'll never see the field unless there's just catastrophic injury. So, yeah, turned out what I thought. So,
all right.
So, you know, one story in Cowboys no longer camp. We are getting training camp is over, and Micah Parsons is still not signed. No update. It is only getting worse. And you know, I gotta ask you, we're gonna get into this. I don't want to delve too deep into it, but we're gonna get into these first 3 episodes of the Cowboy documentary. In that 3rd episode is when Emmitt Smith holds out. Or actually it may have been the beginning of the 4th episode. I'm not quite sure. I'm getting the end and the beginning of 3rd and 4th. But Emmitt holds out. Jerry caves. Does Micah miss games and does Jerry cave? What do you think?
I think it's going to get done.
What gives you the warm and fuzzy about that?
Because we'll talk about the documentary after we come back from our sponsor break, but that has a lot to do with it from what I've seen in there. I think it's going to get done. And so
does the fact that Trey Hendrickson and Terry McLaurin, the other 2 big hold-ins during training camp, got done this week, does that give you hope, or does it just make it more asinine that Micah's isn't done?
I'm just, like I said, when we talk about the documentary, I'm going to tie this in. So I want to save that till we come back from our break, and then because that's why I think it's going to get done, because I want to tie it into what I've seen there. It actually changed the way I thought about it.
Okay, if you keep referencing the break, let's hold on. Did Jerry sitting down with Stephen A. Smith change your opinion on that it's going to get done, or did it even change your opinion on the Micah situation?
It didn't change anything. That was just Stephen A. Smith and him going back and forth. And that didn't change I don't think a whole lot of stock in what Stephen A. Smith says.
Well,
So
it's not. I think you're focusing on the wrong thing in that conversation. It's what Jerry is saying. Like that conversation when you hopped on 105.3 The Fan, The Ticket, all the radio stations up there in Dallas Fort Worth, they started asking, whose fault is it now? Because Jerry said he offered to make him the highest non-paid quarterback, guaranteed money in the history of the game, and they had a deal negotiated. And now the fan base has flipped on Micah for it's more than it's probably about 70-30 now in favor of Jerry Jones in this dynamic when you start listening to sports radio up there in DFW. So he completely flipped the narrative when he went on the conversation with Stephen A. Smith. So we'll tie that into the doc as you want to push this to the next segment and kind of tie it into that. So don't go anywhere, y'all. We'll be right back with more On Time Sports Talk after this sponsor message.
Easy App AI Creator sharpens your focus fast. Forget noise, see exactly what needs doing. Describe your idea, watch the app build itself.
Honestly, it's wild how I just say what kind of app I want, and it's basically done before I even finish my coffee.
Build your dreams, watch us rise. Easy App AI sets us to the skies.
Well, all right.
Didn't he throw out the first pitch at a baseball game, by the way? The lead singer of that band you just used.
Why are you got something against Asian boy bands? Is that something bother you? Wish you were one of them? Jealous?
No,
Is that what's going on?
I don't at all. What about me says I want to be an Asian boy band member?
I don't know. You seem to have a issue with it,
It's
but
just goofy.
even though they're completely AI created.
He looks exactly like the dude who threw out the first pitch at the Dodgers game or whatever it was. So I think the group's name is like BTS or something. I don't know. They're one of the most popular boy bands in the world, and I obviously don't know who they are. All right. Well, folks, welcome back to our tomfoolery here on Time Sports Talk. If you've been glued to your screens, you know there's going to be a ton to unpack with this Dallas Cowboys documentary. And feel free to throw anything we miss or feel free to add in the comments if you're watching. I actually have it set up to where the comments will appear right in front of the old man's emoji face. So if you throw them up there, they'll automatically come on the screen. It's a new feature. The Cowboy Chris.
No one's screening that. That could be problems.
Well, no. Even if you're a hater, feel free to comment. But yeah, ton to unpack from this documentary in the 3 episodes. It takes you from the history of him buying the team and obviously Jerry Jones' upbringing and things like that, and what went into hiring Jimmy Johnson and ultimately winning back-to-back Super Bowls is where we're stopping. In the process of buying the Cowboys, you lived in North Texas at the time. What in that documentary was kind of like, holy crap, like that's really interesting. And then ultimately, like what spoke to you, especially about that first episode and Jerry Jones pursuing to buy the team?
Well, I think what was cool to a certain extent was knowing that how it all came about. And he originally wanted to buy the Chargers and actually had a deal in place to buy the San Diego Chargers.
With the Teamsters.
Yeah, with the Teamsters. So that's a very interesting story. But the fact that it was one oil well And he talks about it. He was very good at spending money or borrowing money, I should say. And that one oil well hit him for $100 million of profit. So back during when all this happened, everybody had been saying that Landry was done, that he just, everybody loved Landry, of course. But as far as his football knowledge and all that, the game had kind of surpassed him. And so what was interesting to me during that time was how many people said, "Oh, you can't fire Landry, you can't do that," when literally the season before everybody was calling for that Landry needs to step down, he needs to move on because he can't get this team going. But I think the problem was Jerry being an outsider, and coming into this. So, and then of course the interesting thing about him and Jimmy Johnson going to the Mexican restaurant, they didn't know that was Tom Landry's. I don't know how much I believe of that they didn't know that was Tom Landry's favorite restaurant. But the fact that they got seen there, so it was interesting to see all the backstories of that the Jones family did not realize the magnitude of what they had just done walking into that first press conference, which basically all of Dallas's journalists were in that press conference.
Yep, and your favorite one, Skip Bayless, was there. I know that's your favorite sports media person of all time. Yeah, there's a couple things that hit me, and a couple of them I marked out because you mentioned them. $800,000 to build the well, and he gets $100 million, and he says, "I just bought the Dallas Cowboys." Essentially, what he said to himself. It's interesting how he had a goal the whole time. He wanted to own a football team, and what a crazy deal that was of almost making a deal with the Teamsters. And for those not knowing who the Teamsters are, they're not great people. There's it's a dangerous society. I remember there's some family lore that my grandfather was tied to them in the trucking business, and that may be why we moved around a lot when I was a kid. So just don't know if there's any truth to that, but we did move around a lot. But I thought it was interesting. They went over the jobs he had. He managed a boxer. Like, that was interesting. He was selling mobile homes. And so, but he had this goal since he was young, or that he wanted to own a football team, and that his paper in college was about marketing and football and the underusage of it. And we obviously, whatever qualms we have with Jerry Jones and the GM role, we can all agree the man is a business conglomerate and a marketing genius. Because after 5 years owning the team, they had surpassed the Yankees as the most valuable franchise in the world. So
when literally after the second Super Bowl, they were still losing money. And that's that was one of the
why
things
he ultimately didn't want to necessarily pay Emmett. But we'll get to that. You mentioned Landry. Like, I have no recollection, obviously, of Landry ever being the coach. I just know the figure. I know the legend of Tom Landry. I know the hat. I didn't know before this documentary they had an entire parade for him in downtown Dallas. And that's, that's how beloved a figure he was. I knew he was legendary in Dallas, but 29 years at the helm, or 28 years at the helm, you had some people in the documentary that were talking about his decline, and he would forget plays he called, and at a certain time, we all know father time is undefeated. So, and I thought something Jimmy Johnson talked about
or that he said there was, me and Jerry Jones, it was just assumed if he bought the Cowboys, I'd be the coach. Like, we never actually talked about it, but we just both knew. Like, we both assumed. And he's coming off winning championships at Miami. So, and what sacrifice Jimmy Johnson made to make it work. He divorced his wife. He put everything he had into it. So that tripped me out as well, and that was really, really surprising. So,
Well, the thing is that Michael Irvin, when he got drafted, because Landry drafted Michael Irvin,
right,
and and the reason Michael Irvin went to the Cowboys and wanted to go there was because Jimmy Johnson told him, I have a friend, and he might be buying the Cowboys, so I might be there. And Irvin kind of hung on that, but what's interesting is Irvin, with that first year he was there, of how he hated it because they just, he was
were
used
horrible.
to Jimmy Johnson and wanted to, play this mofo, get out there, do your job, all that stuff. And they told him, you need to remember, this is the pros. You need to calm down. And he hated that. So it was interesting.
It was definitely a rough one when Michael Irvin got drafted, and by the way, I'm not knocking it, but what a dumb number to wear as a wide receiver, number 47 in college. Like, it seems like a terrible number to wear as a wide receiver. I know that's out of left field, but I just noticed that in the documentary. Like, you were 47 at Miami? That seems like a fullback.
You don't think that had anything to do with the craps, rolling the dice, getting a I don't know.
Not quite. Well, you never know. Yeah, and they build this conglomerate, and they go through the Herschel Walker trade, which we know is a massive trade for the organization. And they build this team, and they go into Candlestick, and they talk. Jimmy Johnson talks how he walked the entire field and charted where good footing would be. Like, that's how detailed he was.
Well, yeah, hang on. Before you go from the Herschel Walker, something I did not know this is that they got 5 players, and maybe I knew it back then, but they got 5 players, and part of the deal was if you cut them, you get draft picks. And Jerry and Jimmy had planned all along, we're going to cut them.
Yeah,
and
you'll never see a trade like that ever again. Like, they completely bamboozled the Vikings on that one. And so, yeah, they use these picks to obviously draft Emmett. Darren Woodson was in there, Russell Maryland. The foundation, a lot of foundation pieces of the franchise, as we know. And they go into Candlestick. And like I said, I was just, as a basketball coach and how detailed I've been before, like, hearing Jimmy Johnson walk the field and chart what plays will work best in this area. And, where the good footing, in which it wasn't too hard to see the good footing. Like, you saw the shitty grass and the good grass on the television. It was, that part of it really intrigued me. And he mentions, like, I live 3 blocks from this facility. Like, this is what I do. Like, he was consumed with it. And without that consumption, I don't know if the Cowboys get to that point. But I will say, they make no qualms about it. He was an asshole. But he knew how to pour into players. He would pull you aside and tell you he loves you. And then I want to get your take on the Charles Haley saga. What was your impressions of that one?
Of Charles Haley?
Yeah, we all know you took Charles Haley in our 94 debate. There was some interesting stuff about Charles Haley in there.
Well, and you haven't got to the Barry Switzer part of it, but but Charles Haley was bipolar. Well, obviously still is bipolar. And he obviously had some serious incidents when he was with the 49ers. And I mean, I'm not going to talk about one incident in
I am.
the film room.
That
And
one. No, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about what he did when he went into the GM's office.
yeah, but Charles Haley, though, changed that team to me of as much as all the other players, of just the tenacity and the attitude. And he could take over a game. I mean, he literally could take over a game just by deciding that's what he was going to do. And that whole thing about they knew they were taking a chance when they got him. And this is what gets me about Jerry Jones now is they seem so risk averse in how they pick players now instead of going after. I think the last time they really took a risk was Des Bryant.
I think it was Greg Hardy.
Who?
Greg Hardy when they signed him.
Well, yeah, and they used to be more about can the player bring us something we need, and nowadays it's more about the money. It's more about we got to build through the draft. And
well, I'd say you in today's world you can't take those risks. The PR nightmare is there's things you can't live through. I was Charles Haley went into his GM's office, pulled out his wiener and pissed on his desk, and that was his message to how bad I want out of San Francisco. If that got out today, he would be in jail. Like, and we won't talk about the other one, in the film room. That one was pretty creepy. But he did some things, and I think in today's world, I know some things are going to come out in this documentary we haven't seen yet. That if they happen in today's time, there's no way that the player survives.
no.
That part of it is a lot of the players got away with a lot of stuff, and the Cowboys aren't the only ones. Like let's not joke that, but in Dallas Fort Worth, those if you're a Dallas Cowboy, especially once you start winning Super Bowls, you're like a god. So.
Well, and it was interesting, and you have to watch the documentary. They talk about the guy who was the cleaner that would come in, and anytime there was an incident or something, would clean it up. But I want to get back to why I think the Micah deal is going to get done based on this documentary. And it's because Jerry, what I watched with the Emmitt Smith part of it, and the fact that, do I think Micah might miss some games? Yes, he might. I think it's going to roll just like the Emmitt Smith thing did. But hopefully, and why I think it's going to get done before the season starts, because I have because last year was the same thing with CeeDee Lamb. He's going to miss games, he's going to be out, and then all of a sudden, the week before the game, he's signed. I'm not sure it's going to happen that way, but the minute that the Cowboys show they're getting trounced on the defensive side of the ball, that's going to force Jerry's hand, just like Emmitt when they put that rookie in there when he was holding out. And they said, we can't win without Emmitt. We can't run our game without Emmitt. It's going to be the same thing on the defensive side because you don't have a defensive line, any other standouts on the defensive line. You have an older veteran in Thomas, But other than that, who's on that defensive line?
I'd say Ziggy is solid, but he's not a top defensive tackle in the league. And you're right. And I think that comparison is fair, but I think the Emmett one, I think Jerry liked Emmett. I don't know if Jerry personally likes Micah at this point. And
What gives you that indication?
it's just how public this has been. You know, it's played out. You know, we talked about it. He went on Stephen A. Smith. He said some things in the media, and you know, he tries to smooth it over with, you know, I think the world of Micah, and Micah's going to be a Cowboy, and all these things, and I've said I've made the argument that it's not necessarily in the best interest to do a deal right now if you are the Dallas Cowboys, because you got him under contract for three more seasons. So, but I don't think he's going to miss games. I think Micah is a dude who wants to play. Of course, every day I don't see him on the practice field, I have less and less confidence in that he's going to play. So we'll see. I just think it's a different situation. I think it's a different level of money. And I do think your CD and Dak, well, you didn't use Dak today, but we used Dak as before as a comparison as well. You know, we'll see if it gets done. I mean, you know, Trey Hendrickson got done with the Bengals. Myles Garrett got done with the Browns after wanting out. And you know, McLaurin got done in Washington. You know, your two out of your three hold-ins have been solved. It'll probably get solved at some point because you made the point, and it's a very fair point. The defensive line of the Dallas Cowboys is subpar, below average with him out.
The other thing too, and this really is, this will have to be next week on the documentary thing, because it was more into that when they signed Sanders. I believe, based on what I've seen in that documentary, Stephen Jones has more say or more influence in this. That I think Jerry would have already done it if Stephen wasn't in the background. Because I think Steven is the one that's always in the back saying, don't do this, don't do that, don't spend this, don't spend that. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, I can't wait till Jerry leaves. I personally think Steven's going to be way worse. I really do. And based on the documentary, I still believe that. He's going to be way worse than Jerry ever was.
You've seen more of the documentary than me, so I'm not going to say that yet. I will say on the documentary, something that I did like that Jerry said from the beginning when he bought the Cowboys was, I wanted to be in business with my kids. And you know, all three of his kids work for the Dallas Cowboys. That's pretty sweet. And pretty awesome for obviously the Joneses family. You know, and as you see the progression of that documentary, and how they build it, and they go into Candlestick, knock off what people consider the best team in the league in San Francisco, obviously absolutely destroy Buffalo Bills in that first Super Bowl. That game was over by the end of the first quarter. And then they run it back, and you start seeing the change in Jimmy Johnson and the rift between Jerry and Jimmy and who gets credit. And, you know, the tease at the end of the episode is essentially Ed Werder is talking, don't leave, or he's about to leave the owners meeting after the 92 season. And Jerry Jones grabs his pant leg and says, don't leave, you're going to miss the story of the year. And he says, I'm going to fire that unloyal son of a bitch. And I mean, that was a hell of a tease. I wait to see the next episode. But yeah, it's amazing how it stopped being fun for Jimmy Johnson, even though they were winning. And that tells you winning doesn't solve everything.
And I love the differences of viewpoints between these two guys, and you get a little more in depth from them. Jimmy Johnson says explicitly in my contract, it says I make all personnel decisions. And Jerry Jones it never said that. And so it's pretty interesting the back and forth on Mama said, Daddy said, and that's been an intriguing relationship that I've enjoyed seeing unfold on camera and them reminiscing about it. So, but ladies and gentlemen, that's our take on the first 3 episodes. Takes you down memory lane, me dressing up in my plastic Cowboys hat and my whatever jersey I had, probably an Emmett or Aitman jersey, leaping over the line for a touchdown in my living room, while probably half the season my dad was deployed overseas somewhere playing Madden tournaments on the boat. It's a good one. I dare to say this, and I hold The Last Dance as the best sports documentary of all time. I do. This is up there. This is, to me, right next to it. It's a damn good one. So if you haven't seen it, I highly encourage you. If you're watching us, you're probably a Cowboys fan, so you've probably seen it. But feel free to shoot a comment on the comment section there, and any questions or comments or thoughts about the awesome documentary. We can always revisit it. All right. We're going to take another quick break and take a time out here on On Time Sports Talk from our amazing one sponsor of EasyLeadership.com. We'll be back in just a moment with some more sports discussions on whatever the hell's going on in the WNBA and jersey retirements and my issues with them. Hit it.
Have you heard of the DISC communication tool? Yes, most people in business have. But there is a new tool out there that is tailored for leadership teams. It is called the DISC Work of Leaders and focuses on 3 main areas: vision, alignment, and execution. This amazing assessment is not just a game changer. It is a business strategy necessity if you want to create sustainability. Let's be honest, a lot of executives spend many hours in HR dealing with people issues, and that happens because of reactive leadership. If you are sitting in HR trying to figure out what happened after the fact, then you are not able to concentrate on running your department or business, and it steals your time. Email us or call. It's free to talk about it and learn how to become proactive in your leadership. Big or small, we have a plan to build on your strengths and an action plan for your challenges. Join Eddie Schedule, our CEO and founder, for a quick video on what a report does for you. Head over to our website and scroll down to see this amazing video of the DISC Work of Leaders tool. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Oh,
All right.
shish kebabs.
What?
Oh, I made a mistake. We make mistakes. This is On Time Sports Talk. Apparently, I put it OSTS. On
OSTS.
Yeah,
Where did you put that in?
Literally every title of every live stream right now, it says OSTS live instead of OTST. Good
Okay.
times.
Oh, there you go.
So, on sports time talk, or no, on
Something or other.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter. All right, we're back. One thing I do want to point out before we get to whatever you want to talk about WNBA. Everyone talks Emmett and the offensive line. Before 1994, when Larry Allen was drafted, do you know how many of those offensive linemen for the Dallas Cowboys are in the Hall of Fame? 0.
No,
None of them.
I was just fixed to say none of them, right?
None of them are. So everyone talks, oh, he had this line, he had that, Emmett was a beast. And I don't think Emmett gets enough credit. I consider Barry Sanders probably the best pure running back, and probably Walter Payton number 2. But for me, Emmett is 3. I don't think Emmett gets enough love, but how many Hall of Fame linemen
When
did he
did
have?
Larry Allen get there?
94.
Yeah.
So he only won 1 championship with the Cowboys. All right. The old man wants to talk WNBA. He is jonesing for the league now. I don't know what's wrong with him. But what would you like to entertain the people with when it comes to that league?
Well, there's quite a few, stories going on, but let me just share a picture, and I want you to
Be careful where you get the
thing.
picture, by the way. One of the pictures
Huh?
of Sophie Cunningham last week got trademarked, and we had to take it out of our video.
This one has who posted it on
Oh,
the video
I don't
or on the picture.
I don't know if Facebook gives a shit about it.
So hopefully that's not an issue. Because this has on the picture. Lexi Hall. Look at her forehead. She got smacked. And we talk about the Warriors that the Fever has, but she got smacked in the head and went back in the game.
She looks like a character from Star Trek.
Yeah, a lot of people were comparing it to that, and she said it was even better in this picture than it was during the game. But where's concussion protocol in the WNBA? Because I'm sorry, but if Lexi Hall, who is a very good-looking lady, forehead looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame just landed on her head, I'm thinking there's probably something about concussion protocol. She didn't come off the bench. She didn't go to the locker room. She came back in the game with her forehead 3 feet out in front of her. And so I'm just like, what's going
maybe
on?
she just got a knot on the head. It doesn't mean she had a concussion.
Dude, what is a concussion? Is when you get smacked in the head and there's signs that there's blood swelling, all that. I think there's a little sign.
A concussion is where your brain hits the wall of your skull. You can have knots on your forehead and not have a concussion.
Look at the size of the knot. It's not a knot.
It is.
It's like horrific. It's like a tree trunk hit her.
I'm
not
sure.
A knot.
I'm sure the WNBA has a protocol, and they went through the protocol, and she passed the test.
They did it after the game. They didn't do it during the game.
Did you watch every minute of this Fever game?
I watch a lot of the Fever's minutes.
I know you got a fever for them.
I got a fever for that Fever.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, we know.
So I just don't know. And then, of course, I have to show it. And once again, the picture has the person who posted it. It's on there. There she is by Getty's Images. But I posted this today on her page. You guys think I like her because she's a pretty lady and all that stuff. I like her because she's just a warrior. And the more I look at the Fever, they have what I call the triplets. That's Caitlin, Sophie, and Lexi. Because if you watch these girls play, they get the crap knocked out of them during the whole damn game, but all of them are warriors. And like Sophie getting her knee screwed up and being out, Lexi steps in and gets a freaking knot on her head that makes her look like a Klingon. from Star Wars, unfortunately for her. So for me, this is one of the things I really like about now that I can watch some of this, because this is a team that goes out and battles. In that game, the Fever won. I mean, with Lexi having the big giant knot on her forehead and everything, I actually think it's a watchable game because these girls are going out and they're battling. So that to me is, and now they're talking about Caitlin maybe coming. She just announced her new logo, but she may be coming back for the playoffs. So
I mean, I don't. You might want to slow your roll on the triplets nickname there, buddy. Sophie Cunningham averages a whopping 8 points a game, and Lexi Hull averages a whopping, 7 or somewhere between
it's the
7
WNBA. That's pretty good in the WNBA.
and that's why it's unwatchable, because according to you, the triplets barely can average almost double digits. So, yeah, I get what you're saying. They're warriors. They're great athletes in their own respect. I just don't like watching it. It's become a cage match. It used to be great fundamental basketball. I used to preach that if you want to see pure basketball, watch the WNBA. And now it's not that. And now they're sitting there saying they're going to sit out and they're going to hold out. Good luck with that shit. You have no negotiating power because you don't turn a profit. You don't do any of that. And that should be a fun subject when they actually do it. But I want to get to our second part of this segment, jersey retirements. All right. Obviously, we had the ridiculous crap at Colorado with Shiloh and Travis Hunter. Maybe Travis Hunter since he won the Heisman. But when you barely go 500 as a player in college, I don't think that necessarily gets you a jersey retirement unless you're at Colorado and you're the Suns kid. I will say this. The Bulls are retiring Derrick Rose's number 1. I know he's a Chicago kid. I know he grew up there. He was obviously fantastic. Won an MVP, and prime Derrick Rose would give anyone nightmares the night before you had to guard him. But did he really do enough to have his jersey retired? I feel like we give number retirements out left and right nowadays. You don't have to win shit. You don't have to win a championship. You don't have to have a long career. You just had to be good. And it irks me. Like it's we've turned into Oprah of jersey retirement. You get it retired. You get it retired. You get it retired. I don't think Derrick Rose's number should be retired. I'm just going to say it. I don't think he played long enough for the Bulls at a high enough level for the Bulls. It wasn't sustained. When he was at his peak, he was the best player in the league, in my opinion, that MVP year. But he had injuries. That knee injury ruined him. He had a long career. I think he played 16, 17, 18 years, but he only played 7 or 8 with the Bulls. Derrick Rose's number should not be next to Jordan and Pippen. I'm sorry. It just shouldn't.
Oh, you want me to comment on this? So we're a team that
I do.
Don't care about at all. And never have. Except maybe when Jordan played, but I really didn't care then either.
It's really about the number of retirements. That's what I want you to comment on. Come on, co-host.
I think it's really up to the team of what that stands for. Now, I think Colorado was ridiculous, but we know why that happened. But it's really up to the team of who is the person they want to put wherever, like the Cowboys Ring of Honor. They
but their
make their
number
own
isn't
decision on it.
retired with the Cowboys.
What's that?
their number isn't retired with the Cowboys.
Well, I understand that. But what I'm saying is that's how some teams celebrate. Not everybody has the Ring of Honor like the Cowboys do. You know, some teams, that's all they do is retire the number or retire the jersey. It's just like Houston has that. Houston has Matumbos and some couple others.
Matumbo in Houston? I think you're thinking Elijah one.
Elijah one. That's what I'm thinking of. I don't know why Matumbo was there. Maybe because of the commercial. But
well, he did play in Houston for a little bit, but definitely not retirement level. I just it seems a little ridiculous at times that eventually you run out of numbers. Okay, so that's the other side of this that you know, in college athletics, especially when you have 90 dudes on a team and you're going to start retiring numbers. You know, I get retiring the jersey or honoring him, and if you want to do it that way, I know Ohio State has their Hall of Fame. You know the Packers have their Hall of Fame, but you know I think the standard is you should be a Hall of Fame player, and at minimum, you know, do I think anyone should wear number 41 for the Dallas Mavericks ever again? No, absolutely not. But I actually really like, this is something I think Jerry Jones has gotten right. I actually like their system. They'll put you in the Ring of Honor, but your number isn't retired. And Michael Irvin has talked about this. When Dez or CD makes a catch, everyone thinks of Michael Irvin when they think of 88. It's like if CD drops the ball, they go, Michael Irvin wouldn't have dropped that ball. You know, there's a certain element to that number. And you have some other ones in Cowboys lore that haven't been given out, like 22 and 8. Yeah, I like the Cowboy system on the jersey retirements, but I don't like how some organizations do it because I feel like it's just too easy.
well, should Gretzky's number be in every single hockey rink retired like it is?
No, it shouldn't.
Really?
I don't. He is the greatest hockey player of all time, but it shouldn't be retired across the league. Just like Michael Jordan's isn't retired across the league. Babe Ruth's isn't retired across the league. There's one man in baseball that's retired across the league, and that's Jackie Robinson, and we know the reason for that, of breaking the color barrier. Even though technically he wasn't the first minority to play in the Major League Baseball, but he was the first one at his time, if you know the actual history of baseball. But yeah, and I'm not saying Jackie Robinson should not be retired. I 100% agree with his. But yeah, other than that, nah, Gretzky, no. Jordan's shouldn't be retired around the league. I don't think Kobe should be retired. I think the Mavericks retired Kobe's number. That's stupid. Never played for you. I get you're trying to honor his memory and all that, but you're not going to let anyone wear 24 in your organization when he never played for it.
I think you're going a little bit far to say that's stupid. I think it's something that teams do, the leagues do, because certain people contribute to it and they have been a face or a name for that organization. So I think you're going a little extreme on saying it's stupid. It's not, to me, it's not.
Kobe never played for the Mavericks.
Doesn't matter. Kobe played against the Mavericks many years. And Kobe made an impact on the league. Just like Gretzky changed the league. He came in and made hockey popular in the United States, and it spread throughout the United States. You're taking into account, oh, well, they didn't play for this, and you're just saying wash them out because they didn't do that. I don't think you're right in saying that. I think it's that the player had an impact on the game. the player is remembered in the game, and that's what it is. It's a memory. And there's players that end up, they have their number retired, and they still end up asking for permission to use that number and still do. It's a remembrance of that player's impact on that team, the league, or the game. So I have no problem with the Mavericks putting Kobe's number up there because he made an impact on the game. He was a person that people look to as a great player.
He's not even the greatest player in the history of the game and the most impactful. That's your argument, Jordan should be retired across the league because he absolutely.
No one is saying he was the greatest player. What I'm saying is if a team wants to retire someone's number, even if they didn't play.
His number's retired is because he died in a helicopter crash. That's why his number's retired with the Mavericks. If he was still alive today, it would not be retired.
Okay.
So if you want to say it's the impact of the game in that particular situation.
So you want to hold it against the man that he died horribly in a
No, I'm not holding that against him because he died. I'm saying that's the reason the Heat and the Mavericks retired his number. He never played for your team.
What's wrong with that?
The shit out of the Mavericks.
What's wrong with that?
To me, it's your franchise. It's players that played for you. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's not if we want to go off impact, then Jordan's number should be retired and not ever worn by anyone else. Magic's and Bird's numbers should not be worn by anybody else.
All we're saying is that it should be up in the rafters. It's fine to be up in the rafters. People who made an impact on the game.
On this, I thought you were a little more old school rather than just give out the shit to everybody. Participation, retirement jerseys for everyone. All right.
It's not what I'm fucking saying. What you are fucking saying is that these players that had an impact on the game, it's stupid to retire their number and recognize them if it's not their team. And then if they weren't a Hall of Famer, they shouldn't have their jersey up there. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying.
I am saying that. I don't think Rolando Blackman for the Dallas Mavericks should be retired.
Like you're saying that his jersey in there?
His number is retired for the Dallas Mavericks. This transcends. This is every team. I don't think the first two players that the Mavericks retired in their numbers they're not on the level of Dirk or Finley or even Jason
Those
Terry.
guys hadn't come around yet.
I understand that. It was preemptively
and that's the
retired.
Team's prerogative. It's honoring these players who made it, and maybe because the Mavericks sucked when they first came in the league. They were terrible. Actually, no one even knew Dallas even had a damn team.
Actually, weren't that bad when they first came in.
Well, but you had certain players that helped them get to the top. Because in your thing, Stockton and Malone wouldn't even be retired.
Who Brad Davis is?
Who?
Exactly. Do you know who Brad Davis is?
Yes.
You do? What team did he play for?
Davis played for the Mavericks, if I'm not mistaken.
You're very unsure about that, but his number is retired by the Mavericks.
So
this is going longer, and you felt like I was personally attacking you, and you want to try to go off on me. I'm just saying I'm very surprised at your take on it because you're normally old school. To me, an old school feel to this, I guess I'm taking that position is there should be a certain level. You just don't get thrown in the Ring of Honor with the Dallas Cowboys. You just don't get put in the Hall of Fame by all these leagues. There should be a certain level. On the Derrick Rose situation, he was a great player for a very short time. I don't think he earned it.
The team set the level.
I'm just saying the team should raise their levels. That's the point I'm trying to make. And you shouldn't retire unless it was a transcendent player like Jackie Robinson, which nobody on any league has been transcendent.
But you're going to an extreme, though. because no one will ever have that opportunity
Exactly.
to do what that person did.
No one
So
should
you have
ever
to go with the opportunity, and
That's
you're
the
sitting
point
there
I'm
saying,
making.
"Oh, well, it's a participation thing." No, it's not.
That's
These
what it feels
players
like.
were high-level impact players. They're not saying everybody gets one, but they have a certain standard. Whether it's, in your opinion, low or high, it's still the team's prerogative of who they want to honor.
I get that. I'm just saying the team should up their standards. That's the point I'm trying to make. I think a lot of these teams have below average standards when it comes to jersey retirements. All right. So, but anyways, we got another. Yes, we do. All right. Let's hear again from our sponsor, EasyLeadership.com. Run it.
So it's not easy leadership.
Tired of lengthy proposals and waiting around on developers to try and match what you want or need? At Easy App AI Builder, we ditch the proposal and deliver your working app demo fast. No upfront costs. No upfront commitments. Just your app idea, brought to life within 24 to 48 hours. So why wait? Tell us your idea and we'll show you how it works. Get your free demo today at build.easyapai.com.
Is it a branch of Easy Leadership?
No, it is not.
It's a completely different company.
Yes, it's completely different.
LLC.
It's completely different. So we apologize to our sponsors that are different. There's Easy Leadership, which is one. There's Easy AI App, and then there's Easy App AI Builder.
You literally just apologize to yourself.
I'm just telling you, if we're, it's not the same one.
The man just apologized to himself for his own company. All right. Okay. Got a quick story here. Feel-good story from the PGA. The FedEx Cup was this past weekend. I love watching golf. It's the best napping sport of all time. You can fall asleep and wake up 2 hours later and you barely missed anything. But Tommy Fleetwood wins the FedEx Cup, his first event that he's won. He's come in second dozens of times, or top fives dozens of times. And he finally breaks through with a 2 or 3, I think it was a 3-shot lead at the FedEx Cup, wins $10 million for his first event. Not a bad paycheck. If you saw him on the 18th green and how he celebrated, and his other English guys, Justin Rose and I think Shane Lowry was out there congratulating him. What an incredible accomplishment for a guy who, for all encompassing purposes, is a good dude on the tour. So, when good dude, there was a perfect example of what type of guy he is. In that final round, he shanks one, goes into the water, and he's still dabbing up kids as he's walking down the golf course. I remember a big criticism of guys like Tiger Woods they just completely ignored the crowd in the tournament, and he was kind of a jerk about it. When you get these guys that are just good human beings and don't forget that they're just playing a game, pretty awesome to see Tommy Fleetwood finally break through after 164 starts on the PGA Tour, finally get his first win.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe they should retire his hat. But
according to you, they should.
Yeah, they should. 164 starts. It's a long time. But yeah, I mean, obviously that's a big deal for him. Anytime winning a major when you're not one of the well-known players, to me, Fleetwood is not a well-known player. At least he wasn't to me. Been around for a long time. But it's golf in so much as we talk about team sports is not a team sport, even though you could possibly argue them having a caddy is part of their team. So it's a great individual accomplishment, and I can't imagine what that feels like after 164 starts. That's a lot of golf to
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean,
work
obviously
through.
he's an Englishman. He's very well known in Europe and England, and it's pretty well known over here. I've known about him for years, and he was always the guy who couldn't get it done. That would choke in the last round or just kind of falter down the stretch, and it happened to him just a couple weeks ago. He was tied for the lead going into the last round, and he let it slip away. The last few, and what's amazing is his attitude about it. He just has a positive attitude on life, and trying to uh, just overcome the battles that he had on the course. So really, really, just good feel moment there. But um, so all right. Enough on Tommy Fleetwood and his conquering the mountain and winning a PGA Tour event. By the way, the FedEx Cup is not actually. I think you said it was a major. It's not a major. So it's just the big event.
He didn't even win a major.
Yeah. So it's not. No, it's not a major. It's just. It's like a step down from a major winning the FedEx Cup. So, but it is a bigger.
Would it be called a minor?
If you want to.
Or would it be called a medium?
I don't know. You'll have to email the PGA and see what the proper term is on that one. But this week, interested to see what the old man has in store for making the most of your moment. We introduced this segment last week. It was the gentleman who got called onto the field, hit a home run as a fan. So what do you have this week, old guy?
Well, all right. And I want to make sure I give credit. This comes from obviously a foreign person on X. It's ESTEH on X that has this. So, but this making the most of your moment has to also do, let me share here.
My nomination did not get picked, I guess.
That what?
My nomination did not get picked that I sent to you.
I don't know if you sent me it.
Oh, I did.
Well, I don't remember it. But this is more, don't judge a book by its cover. Kind of like you've talked about this of getting a little disrespect as your basketball skills. Well, here she is, and you see her walking. She's just normal, pretty lady in the mall, but she gets challenged to basketball. And watch what she does to him.
That's in the mall. Okay. I mean, no left hand there, but got a little range. Solid. There's a left hand there. Oh, a little fake out. Ooh, in your face. Oh, ice in the veins. Ice in the veins.
There you go. There you go.
Nice. By the way,
beautiful Asian lady got challenged, and those guys, look, their heads are all down like you just got torched by her. And like I said, that
that's actually that was at the beginning of the video that you stopped. But yes, that is a little embarrassing for them. But their heads would be down after that performance. By the way, I did send you my nominee last Thursday at 6:38 p.m. I explicitly texted it to you.
Do you have it queued up or
no? We can save it for next week or another time, or I can resend it to you since you forgot about it. Mine was an oldie; it wasn't a new one.
Okay.
But yeah, that'll wrap up. Make the most of your moment, getting torched there. Yeah. All right. Our last couple segments, our whiskey of the week is, this should hit home for you, Pops. It's called Bonfire. And this is keeping the tradition alive. This is made in Aggie Land. It's named after the yearly bonfire Texas A&M has. Small batch straight single barrel bourbon whiskey, good old 45%. And it's aged a minimum of 3 years. So this was a new one I found today at the good old store. And us both being Aggies, figured that'd be a good one to pick. Bonfire. So it is distilled and make sure I get it right. Yep, it is the Brazos Valley. It's made by the Brazos Valley Vodka Company in College Station. So
well, there you go. Anything that comes out of College Station is a good thing.
So bonfire whiskey right there. So that's what I've been sipping on. It's pretty smooth. It's not too bad. Put it in the rotation. And I got a new one. I got another new one for next week already. So that is our whiskey of the week. Anything exciting happening? We're in our last segment to sign off. Are there any fun little tidbits you have for the people before we call it a night?
No, I think the big thing, I'm just looking forward to football finally getting underway here.
Woo, football!
Obviously, yeah. I mean, we got college football this weekend, the real start of college football, even though it started last week.
In Dublin, Ireland. I'm sure you love that.
God. I don't even want to. I don't want to talk about Dublin. So goofy. That nobody cares or knows what the hell's going on. They just go there because they know they're going to get beer and cheer on something. They don't even know what the hell's going on.
No,
so college football, and we've got some games coming
Texas,
up.
Ohio State.
Ohio State and Texas are going to be playing. And then there's one other top. It's Clint. Who is it? I'm going to have to look it up. But I think it's Clemson and someone else. I have to look that up. I don't have it in front of me. But I think the big one is definitely going to be this Ohio State and Texas. Obviously, this is a rematch from playoffs last year, where Texas got sent home packing. And I have a feeling that's what's going to happen again. And not just because I'm a homer for the Aggies. Well, yeah, actually it is because I'm a homer for the Aggies. I hope that Ohio State comes in there and rips those horns off and sends them back to Austin crying. That's what I hope. Let's go, Ohio State.
Yeah, you have
Ohio State.
I got you, old man. I got you, Pops. Clemson, number 4 Clemson versus number 9 LSU this week. You got Alabama, Florida State. Florida State's down though.
I think there's another one that I was thinking of that's higher.
Notre Dame, Miami, which is 6 versus 10. And that's really all your top 25 teams playing each other. Texas, Ohio State, 1 versus 3. Clemson, LSU, and Notre Dame, Miami are all top 10 matchups.
It's going to be interesting for who's Penn State got this week.
They got Nevada. That'll be a run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. Notre Dame. I want to see what Notre Dame's going to do after they had, kind of a letdown last year, even though they were a damn good team. Well, so Notre Dame's going to be another one to watch this year. But I still think Penn State.
Are you saying let down because they didn't win the national championship? Because they played in the national championship game.
But they didn't win it.
Okay, so I just want to know your definition of a letdown, because to me that's a pretty damn good year if you're playing for a national championship.
Well, yeah, I mean overall, but you want to win the championship. It's just like go back to the Dallas documentary. Said it don't mean a damn thing to get there.
I was just I was just getting clarity here. All right. No,
Yes.
don't have to
But
feel attacked
that's
all the
my
time.
whole thing. Imagine you're on that team. You fought the whole country. You have fought your way through the playoffs. You fought through all those teams. You get there and you lose. I mean, think about Buffalo. You know, the Buffalo Bills, man, they talk about that and how that still kills them. The fact that they got there. And I can't even imagine that. I can't even fathom getting to a championship.
Which is all the more that you should be rooting for Buffalo and Josh Allen, by the way, because you saw the pain of the 4 heartbreaks.
Oh God, I thought we were going to get out of here without you, Josh, again.
I'm just saying that's why you finally admitted last year.
I've always said that if Buffalo makes it to a Super Bowl and they're not playing the Cowboys, I would root for them. That still stands.
Folks,
but I just don't think they're going to get there with Josh Allen at quarterback.
They are going to get there. You can't say that because you finally admitted last year he's a top 5 quarterback and he was the MVP.
It's a top 5, but it's so Jackson.
And he whooped Jackson's ass in the
But they can't win. They can't win the big one.
Listen, you got to stop using the Baltimore Ravens as your example because they beat them in the playoffs last year. You got to remember that. If you want to say the Chiefs, then no one has beat the Chiefs other than
what? But the comparison I was saying is having a quarterback that is a superstar but can't win the big one.
Okay, that's a fair comparison, but his career is also not over, and he just ascended to the MVP level last year. So, and I have a feeling the Chiefs' run is about to be done because all their players are older. They still have Patrick Mahomes, and he gives you a level that will always be at a high level as far as a winning football team. I think we already know this is Kelsey's last year. Chris Jones is starting to get up there in age. You know, they're a lot of their better players are starting to get up there. So they've been really good for a really, really long time. We're going to see if the Chiefs in the next 2 to 3 seasons are going to be able to reload.
So it's to me, the AFC West is the best division of football right now.
Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and who's the one I'm missing?
Raiders.
I don't necessarily we haven't talked about NFL division. That's probably will be on next week since we'll be on the eve of the NFL's year. But that's an argument that I don't know if I can argue out of you because that's a pretty damn good point that AFC West is probably the best division in football. I'm not going to say I disagree with that, to be honest with you. Especially with Pete Carroll going to the Raiders and some of the pieces they've added. But so we'll talk more about that next week. Hopefully, we'll obviously be previewing the Cowboys in Philly, being they open next Thursday night. But we will definitely go over these divisions. Who do we see winning the divisions, and maybe make our way too early Super Bowl picks. We also got to bring back picks with Pops next week. And we will keep track this year because I want it to be official that I kicked your ass. So, because I know I won last year. And in 2 weeks, we're hoping to have Cowboy Chris on the show, hopefully. But in 2 weeks, we get to hear the return of my favorite man, our long-lost cousin, Sir George, because he's going to get to watch the Dallas Cowboys once again.
You think you're really going to convince him to do that again?
I think so. I think he's going to give it another shot, and it may or may not work out as a positive. But Sir George will be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully, Cowboy Chris on that episode as well from the Cowboy Up podcast, since I joined him last week. Great group of guys. He is all everything Cowboys. I'm going to be interested to hear his take on the Philly Cowboys game, however it turns out. And yeah, let's go ahead and end it there. A lot of college football this weekend, and we'll be back at it next week on our normal day now of Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Mike, what day is it? It's hump day.
Hump day. All right, folks.
Maybe we need to make the camel our mascot.
That might not be a bad idea.
You know what you call a 3-hump camel?
Your mom. Which is my grandmother. That's terrible.
Do you know what you call a 3-hump camel?
No, go ahead.
Pregnant.
All right, folks. Well, we want to thank God for listening and watching us, man. We appreciate it. You know, we're trying to grow this thing. Make sure you go follow on YouTube, Facebook, X. Follow us on X. You can see it running down there at Coach Schedule, at Easy Eddie. YouTube at On Time Sports Talk, not OSTS, as I jacked that up. But we're thankful for every single one of y'all. And next week, feel free to hop in the comments. We got them on screen now. My wife passed out, or she would have saved us on the comment section. But solid show. Any last remarks before we hit the outro?
No, I think we are out of here. We will see you next week.
Peace.
Have a good evening.